I'm Christy, and today we're going to sketch, watercolor, and add some nature study notes to a Monstera leaf. Let's start painting. Alright, all you're going to need is a watercolor journal with watercolor paper. I prefer having cotton paper. Print out the outline that's in the caption, and I have some transfer paper here, but you can also go ahead and use pencil to make the outline, and I'll show you about that in a little bit. And of course, you're going to need a pencil and an eraser. Now, you can use a normal eraser. My favorite though is a kneadable eraser. Either one is fine. And then you're going to need some paper towel, some water, your watercolor palette, paintbrushes, of course. The watercolor palette can be any watercolor palette you have. This happens to be the one I'm using today by Lichen, and it has 36 different colors in it. We're not going to be using all 36 colors. And then also you're just going to need like a fine tip marker. I like to use this Sharpie, which is like a fine point. And that will be just at the very, very end. If you feel hesitant to draw, no worries. I've created a free downloadable outline along with some sample nature notes, more on those later, that you can follow along with for today's painting. To transfer the outline, you can print it and shade pencil along the back of the lines that you'd like to trace. I happen to have some transfer paper, so I'm going to use that today. I've linked the materials I'm using below in case you're interested, but truly any basic supplies will work. Once your outline is transferred, let's switch to our watercolor palette. I have a small jar of water and a paper towel nearby. And since we're creating a full scene, I like to begin with the background, starting with the lightest color and gradually building toward deeper shades. Today, instead of laying down clear water first and dropping pigment into it, we're going to use something that's called a tinted wash. And that simply means that we're mixing a very light diluted color on our brush and then applying it softly to the page. As we move forward, we'll layer slightly more pigmented washes on top to build depth and dimension. Working this way helps us to stay in control of where the color goes while still allowing watercolor to do its beautiful natural blending. So we're going to begin with a soft blue for the sky. Don't forget to paint through the holes or the fenestrations in the Monstera leaf. Those openings allow light to pass through in nature, so we want them to feel connected to the background. Feel free to rotate your paper to find a comfortable angle for your hand. As the paint begins to dry, you can layer a bit more blue in the distance to suggest soft foliage in the background. And don't worry if the watercolor moves beyond your lines. This isn't about perfection. Nature itself is perfectly imperfect, and that's part of its beauty. Next, we'll move to a light green, almost a lime shade for the tree trunk in the background. Use whatever lightest green you have. We're going to apply a light wash all over the trunk. And then, with slightly more pigment or maybe a deeper green, begin adding vines. Since this plant grows in the jungle, we're going to let vines climb freely up the trunk. Think of long, natural S shapes, some overlapping others. The outline provides guidance, but feel free to add your own movement and variation. As we introduce deeper greens and even touches of brown, keep a light hand so that the earlier layers still show through. Vines grow wherever they can hold on in order to reach sunlight, so there's no single right placement here. Now let's begin filling in the Monstera leaves themselves. As always, start with the lightest green to create the effect of sunlight reflecting on the surface. A helpful tip: begin detailing in areas where the background is completely dry, and that way we can set the leaves apart and the paint won't blend into the back layer. After the first wash, deepen your green and shade from the leaf tips inward. Monstera leaves have beautifully pointed edges, so take your time preserving those tips. And layer by layer, we're going to continue building depth. Once the lighter greens are set, introduce a slightly more pigmented green to define the center vein and radiating lines of each leaf. We'll blend softly later, but for now, we're simply layering and allowing the paint to settle naturally. Add a grassier green from the center now toward the middle, from the middle of each leaf, and then go outward. A deeper green, perhaps a hint of brown near the tips to create the sense that the leaves are gently turning away from the light. You can also layer these deeper tones into the background leaves for added depth. If you'd like, you can add some touches of texture to the tree, perhaps some subtle stippling to suggest moss or lichen. The detail is optional, but it gives a hint of other life quietly growing along the bark. At this point, you could continue refining details, but I'm going to shift into labeling our piece. If you downloaded the outline with the nature notes, you'll notice that the second page includes a few simple facts about the Monstera plant. This is where we can transform our artwork into a nature study journal entry. I'll begin by lightly penciling the name Monstera deliciosa to make sure it fits, and then I'm going to trace over it with this marker or the Sharpie. And I don't want you to hesitate to write directly on your artwork. Nature journals are meant to be useful and informative, like your own personal field guide. Choose 1 or 2 facts to add, or write your own observation from today's painting. If you have pencil marks to erase, now is a good time. A kneadable eraser is gentle on watercolor paper, and that's why I love it, but a regular eraser works just fine. Just use a light touch. And there you have it, a Monstera leaf nature study journal page. If you enjoyed painting with me, you can download the free outline and nature notes below. I'll be sharing more tropical watercolor journaling prompts each week, so feel free to subscribe if you'd like to continue building your nature journal together. I'll see you in the next one.